Scaling your law firm doesn't have to be difficult. It's all about mastering a few key strategies, systems, and mindsets. Welcome to the Scalable Law Podcast, where we talk about how you can increase profit in your pocket and time in your calendar. My name is Carolee Fontanelli, and I have successfully scaled my firm so that it doesn't solely rely on me. Now I love teaching other law firm owners how to do the same. Let's transform your business starting now. Welcome to another episode of the Scalable Law Podcast. I'm super excited to have you here. And today I'm going to talk to you about a topic that I'm so passionate about. I have just been helping a Scalable Law client with this, and it has got me thinking about how many law firm owners don't dig into the numbers. So we are definitely going to be digging into the numbers today. But before I do, I would love to talk to you about Law BizCon 2024. Now, if you don't know what Law BizCon is, it is a in-person, most amazing conference experience that you will ever have. It is on the Gold Coast on the 12th to the 14th of May. The 12th is a drinks evening, so it actually then starts on the 13th. So if you don't arrive to the 13th, that's totally fine. It's a Monday, Tuesday. It's at the QT Hotel, which is a fabulous, amazing location to spend a couple of days. And it is going to absolutely blow your mind. So if you are a law firm owner who wants growth, and let's face it, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably want growth in your law firm. So if you're listening to this podcast, Law BizCon 2024 is actually designed for you, and it would be amazing if you came along. There are so many different topics there. We're running 2 streams at once. We're going to be covering topics like cultivating a magnetic firm culture, AI for law firms, cash flow and debt collection management, videos for law firms and how to attract your ideal client, attracting your ideal client with social media, getting more clicks and more clients, automating and managing Google reviews, you name it. There are so many incredible topics, as well as a lineup of really inspirational speakers. We've got some incredibly inspirational speakers coming along. Rick Rushton is one of them. He is amazing. And yeah, it's just going to be a really great time. There's also a gala dinner, which is going to be a night to remember. And we also have, of course, all of the food and the networking. We're running meetups for different groups during the 2 days as well. So basically, if you are a law firm owner and you want to be inspired, you want to network, you want to grow your firm, and you want to hear from expert speakers on how to do that, then this conference is for you. Now, I've got a special code for you if you are a listener of the podcast and you want to come along. You can get $150 off your ticket. So hop on over to lawbizcon.com.au and I will give you the code right now. It's going to be a bit of a tricky one to write down, but the code is join for 150 off Law BizCon. So in the checkout, that's what you need to go to. Join for 150 off Law BizCon. You will get this amazing discount, and it is going to, honestly be a mind-blowing couple of days. And I would absolutely love to have you there. So hop on over to lawbizcon.com.au and punch in that code. If you can't find the code, then it is totally okay. Go over to my website, Scalable Law, and you'll see in the show notes, the code will be in there as well. So you can find it over there, or you can just email me, carolee@scalablelaw.com. I will send you the code so that you can get that $150 discount because you are an amazing podcast listener. Anyway, let's get stuck into the podcast today. So what brings me to this topic today is that I have been talking with a client who is in the Scalable Business Lounge, although they're actually just contemplating on joining. So this is one of the reasons that they have all of these questions, because they haven't yet joined the program, but they are going to be doing that. And what they want to achieve is they want to achieve more revenue in their law practice so that one of the partners of the husband and wife team can leave their work and come over and join a law firm full time. This law firm is already doing quite well, but they are not confident yet with the numbers and giving up that one salary, which I totally understand and get. So what I've asked them to do is to come back to me with a whole lot of numbers so that we can really analyze what is going on in their law practice. And this is something that I really encourage you to do as well. Now, the first number that I really wanted, and this is a number that you should 100% go away and work out today what this number is, because this number will help you to understand how many clients you need to achieve your goal. So let's say your goal is to turn over $1 million in your law firm. So I don't know where your law firm is at right now. You might be just starting out, or you might be around 500,000 mark, or you might be, really aiming for the $1 million. Let's just call it $1 million because it's easy to deal with that number being a rounded number. So let's say you want to turn over $1 million. We need to know, in order to turn over $1 million, how many clients do we need a year so that we can achieve those goals. This might seem like it's tricky to work out, but it's really not tricky to work out at all. And this number is so important because it really can be like a guiding light as to what we need to do in the top end of our marketing funnels in order to reach that revenue goal of $1 million or whatever your revenue goal is. So I asked this firm to go away and come back with some numbers for me. And they went away and came back with the perfect numbers that can really help us start making some decisions. So in this particular firm, they do family law, and they also have got a couple of other practice areas as well. And they've come back with the average dollar spend per matter or per client in their business. Now, I know that you're going to say, but I offer all these different practice areas, or sometimes they might spend $20,000, but other times they might only spend $2,000. What we're looking for is we're looking for the average dollar spend, because you are going to get some that are spending $900, and you are going to be having some that spend $7,000 or $10,000 or $20,000. We're just looking for your average. So these guys have come back to me with their average dollar spend, which is $7,242. So it's really interesting knowing that number. So on average, if we wanted to create a firm that has $1 million turnover, we now know that we need 137 matters or clients per year in order to achieve the revenue of $1 million. But this is where it gets really interesting. If we want to dig deeper into the numbers, we can see a whole lot of other things going on as well. So let's say you've got one practice area, but inside that practice area are lots of different elements. So an example of that is that you might be an estate planning firm, but you have got testamentary trusts, you've got simple wills, you've got complex wills, and you've got powers of attorney. So you can break down each of those areas and see what income you're actually achieving in each area. Or you could be a family law firm and you might have a breakdown of binding financial agreements, consent orders, parenting negotiations, property negotiations, court matters. And you can break it down further and further and see the average dollar spend of each of those areas. what this can do is it can really help you to pick and choose who your ideal client actually is, where your revenue is coming from, and where you might want more revenue to come from in the future. So it can really help you to target. So not only are we targeting a market now of 137 clients in order to reach $1 million target, but we might be going, well, actually, that's the average dollar spend in the firm, but this practice area in particular, so for example, it could be parenting and property matters, that has a higher average dollar spend. So what I actually want to do is target more of those, which is going to bring in less work, but at a higher average dollar spend, and that will be more profitable for me. So breaking down those numbers can really, really assist you massively. I also, in this case, with this particular firm, not only got them to break down a certain practice area like family law and share with me how it was divided by children and parenting, divorce, financial agreements, and property, but also then the other practice areas and really looking at what financial gains and benefits are coming from each of those practice areas. So for example, when you look at your numbers, say you have a conveyancing section in your firm, which lots of firms do, and you actually look at the numbers and the fees billed, is it benefiting the firm at the end of the day, or is it actually costing the firm, or are you using it as a little bit of a lost leader? The benefit might not be the finance, it might not be revenue, but it might be a source of referrals coming in from that practice area, for example. So it's really interesting actually breaking it down and having a look at these average dollar spends to see what your firm is actually doing on the data and how you can move the needle forward by tweaking some of these numbers. So the other thing that is really interesting as I've looked at these numbers with this particular firm is the average dollar spends feel like they are quite low. And so what is the reason for that? Are the staff overloaded, or are they not skilled enough in that particular practice area? The other thing could be is that they're not actually attracting the ideal client, and therefore the average dollar spend is much lower per matter than what it could be if they were more intentional on who they're actually trying to attract. So it's really interesting to actually look at the data and to break it all down and to see what in fact is happening in the law firm. So what I suggest you do as well is that if you have more than one lawyer in your firm, so you and maybe a couple of others, to break down the average dollar spend per solicitor or fee earner in the firm. I've done this in my own firm and I have found that our fees vary greatly. The average dollar spend is quite different from lawyer to lawyer. And so looking at how they are practicing, what are the differences? Why is one lawyer billing at a much lower rate than the other? Is it because they are not capturing their billables correctly? Are they missing fixed fee opportunities? What is the reason? And so the numbers will really help you delve into that a lot deeper. And then hopefully you are able to make these little tiny 1, 2, 3% tweaks in your law firm to really help you to grow your firm using this data. So the other thing I want to say is that with the data, you do need to pull at least 6 months worth of revenue data, and you'll find that the data over 6 months versus the data over 12 months will have slight variables in there. So obviously you don't want to use data that's too old. You do want to use new data, but it does need to have enough of a sample to be real. I've found when we test the data on conversion rates of our team, obviously when you're doing it over a smaller period of time, it is a not as good a sample as over, say, a 6 month to 12 month period of time. But we don't pull data more than 12 months. So we wouldn't look at what the average is for, the average dollar spend over a 2-year period, for example. We are just looking at 1 year to 6 months, something like that. So it is really interesting. So tips from today are: find out what your average dollar spend is across the whole of your practice. And you do that by working out the revenue of your firm divided by the amount of matters that you've had over the last 6 months or 12 months, depending on which way you go. So for example, that could be your revenue is $1 million, and you divide that by the amount of matters that you have opened, not the free initial appointments, just the paying retained clients. And that might be 200 clients, for example, and you'll be able to find your average dollar spend there. Then what we need you to do is break down the average dollar spend per practice area. So how many matters per the revenue of each of those practice areas. Or if you've just got one practice area, then breaking it down per matter type. For example, parenting and property, divorce, financial agreements, just parenting, whatever the case may be for your practice area. As you do this, you will find different numbers that become interesting to you. You'll be able to delve in and see some of the areas that are just not working for you, and maybe they're costing you too much money. So what that might mean is that you don't want to do that practice area anymore. That might be a practice area that you just say no to. And honestly, sometimes saying no when you're in business is the best thing that you can do. For example, in family law, just say no to things like child support. The revenue from these things versus the time that you spend on them is just far too high. So what are some areas of your business that you might actually want to get rid of? And sometimes that might mean cleaning up your marketing. It might mean cleaning up parts of your team. There's all sorts of things that you could be doing to improve the business tenfold just by making these tiny little tweaks. But you can't make the decisions on what to do and what's best until you actually delve into the numbers and really, really have a little look at it. So yeah, it is super interesting. And then from there with the numbers, the other thing that you can do is you can then create goals around the numbers. So if you know what your average dollar spend is, then you can know how many clients you need over the next 12 months to achieve goals, and then break that down to monthly goals for client retention and things like that. That can really help you work out with your marketing what you need to implement, what you need to turn up, what you need to turn down, and really how you need to be spending your marketing efforts and dollars. So anyway, that's all I have time for today. I really just wanted to give you this inspiration about, if you haven't dug into your numbers for a while, go and do that, because you can make a huge difference in your business by knowing some of these basic numbers. And they do need to be updated on the regular basis. You should at least be looking at these numbers every 6 months and being able from there to make really informed decisions based on data rather than based on this is what you think is going on in your business. Anyway, that's all I have time for today. If you would love for me to help you with some of that, you would love to get into the data with me, I'm totally happy and would love to do that with you. You just need to book a strategy call over on my website at scalablelaw.com, and I will hop online with you and we will have a great time digging into your data. All right, that's enough from me for now. Bye for now. See you later. Thank you for listening to the Scalable Law Podcast, brought to you by the Scalable Business Lounge. If you would love to know how you can get more clients without relying on referrals, head over to scalablelaw.com to watch my free masterclass. Until next time, you have got this.